Hello, welcome to Soulprint. Thank you very, very much for being here. Okay, so we're going to take a look at Trump. I'm not using my cards. I'm doing this energetically. Um, you know, First of all, thank you all for being here. If you get to the end of this video, um, now if not on today's video tomorrow, but I'm really hoping it gets put onto today's. Um, the other day, Vanessa came home and brought a like pumpkin like that for Atlas. And we have some video of Atlas dealing with the pumpkin. It's quite entertaining. So we're going to attach that to the end of this, and hopefully you will enjoy it. Nova makes a appearance, and Twyla just couldn't be bothered because it's just beneath her. Right? Alrighty, let's get going. Let's take a look at Trump. Okay, so he's devolving, right? The first thing everybody needs to understand is there is not a bottom with him. He will just it's like he's just going to continue to devolve and spiral until something implodes. Um, and the thing that honestly, I mean, whether we like it or not, in some ways, this guy's like a cockroach. Like you can't get rid of him, right? I don't know if there's a apocalypse. Probably at the end of it, it's going to be Trump and a cockroach standing around. I don't know, but he, despite everything, despite the overweight and the not healthy and the hamburgers and the ketchup, and it's quite amazing how this guy manages to handle and absorb the degree of stress, anxiety, worry, fear that he has to be dealing with on a ongoing basis, right? I mean, the J6 case in Judge Chutkan's court is starting to move ahead. There's sort of dates for this and dates for that, and who has to respond to who when. So that's moving forward. Um, it's just kind of amazing, honestly, um, what this guy can. I know, like body hits that he can like sort of absorb. Now, listen, that doesn't mean that um, he doesn't feel right the stress, the anxiety, the fear. All he feels all of it. He just seems to have like some sort of an ability to not let it um kind of get to him. I think part of it is that they're showing me that it's like he puts things in mental, like file folders. Okay. And because he has truly such a limited attention span, it's like he only pulls one file folder out at a time. And that's where he completely focuses his energy. And then something else comes along and it's not like he adds that file. It's like he takes the one he was looking at and he files it and then pulls out the next one. And so, in some ways, what we see is a sort of mountains of really, really hard and difficult things that he's having to deal with, particularly given his sort of mental stability and the cognitive decline he's dealing with. We can't figure out why it hasn't flattened him, and that appears to be the answer is he does this sort of file folder thing. So he's only actually dealing with one thing at a time. And we saw that kind of behavior in the debate with Vice President Harris, because it was like it didn't matter what was asked of him. It was like he had three talking points, and he would just pivot to them because that seemed to be the extent of what he could process and verbalize. So there we have it. Now, this is October, right? I don't know how that happened. Honestly, I don't. Um, so we're dealing with sort of an October surprise at some point. I do not necessarily know and understand, but astrologically, I guess this is going to be sort of a busy month. I think this is going to be released on the 2nd, and I believe I think it's a lunar eclipse happening today. I could be wrong, but there's an eclipse of some kind. But there's just a lot going on. And speaking of which, um, I have invited Kathy back to sort of give us the information we need. Don't forget, she is the amazing astrologer from Professional Aquarian. Um, so if you haven't checked her out, you should. She does these really great little videos that aren't political, that are just sort of the energies of the week, um, that are kind of a good thing to listen to kind of on a Sunday or a Monday, and kind of give you a heads up of what's going on. Anyways, I digress. So he's going to continue to shoot things out of his mouth that are not winning him any fans. Like the whole, he wants to sort of ban overtime pay. What? He just doesn't feel like that's necessary, I guess. He's waffling on the whole abortion thing, but when it comes right down to it, he doesn't have any respect for women. He doesn't place any value on them. So why would he actually concern himself with what might happen to a woman, with a pregnancy gone wrong, or frankly, any of her reproductive health care? So you've got that kind of energy going on. He's going to continue to um, be outrageous. I am still seeing him um, being the Republican candidate when people are voting on November 5th. All right. Now, I know early voting has started. And again, I will just quickly remind you, if you can early vote, do it. And do not forget to check your registration like weekly until you vote. All right. Make sure that you are registered and that you stay registered. Um, So I see, and I have to tell you truly, at this point, it is better that he is there, right? Because then when there is this resounding defeat, it might just be enough of a body slam for him to sort of deflate and poof, whatever poof looks like for him. Um, I if he were to if something were to happen right now and he was off the ticket, and there was whatever nonsense that went on to, you know, change the voting, um, then honestly, you, me, and everybody else would be listening to another 3, 4, 5 years of I would have won that election. So nobody needs to hear that, right? We're all tired of hearing his voice. Speaking of which, he just did nothing but mutter nonsense and nonsensical statements when he did that sort of press conference thing with Zelensky, which was very, very quickly, I think, put together when it became known that he had refused to meet with Zelensky. But he's made it perfectly clear that Russia is his preferred winner for that war. So, you know what? Like, honestly, kudos to Zelensky for not bopping him in the head. Truly. Um, what you're going to see going forward is erratic. He's going to say things that or nonsensical, that don't make any sense. He can't complete a sentence, but all this we know. What he's going to add to that is he's going to start saying things that are really going to upset a lot of people. And as I said, he's not doing himself any favors. The people who are going to vote for Trump are going to vote for Trump. Already, there's nothing to be done about it. Um, the undecided voters, and I'm not exactly convinced at this point, there's actually a lot of undecided voters. I think there might be some voters who are not um, educated. I don't love that word, but they haven't sort of immersed themselves in it. They haven't checked out who's running, whose policies, etc. Um, but I think even those undecided voters in some way lean one way kind of or the other. What I think that is, again, not being taken into consideration is the power and the force of the Gen Z voting bloc. They're not polled, right? They don't get included in surveys. So we really don't have a lot of idea of what's going on with them. Marcus did send me a clip of something that was on the news in Georgia, and they were talking to students at a university, and I apologize, I have forgotten the name of the university and the city it is in, um, but and it was interesting listening to them because they were very much involved in the election. They were very much about registering and voting. And it certainly seemed like they were leaning, more Democrat than not. So, like I say, but that kind of stuff is not, we're not privy to it, certainly on a national level. Um, so they're not part of the calculation. And I think that that is going to end up proving to be, I guess, a surprise, a shock, and very, very possibly part of what takes this election from a very close election to something that is more like kind of the blue wave that you saw the last midterms, where Democrats just performed so much better than was expected. He's physically tired. Um, it's like he's lost not will to live, but he's lost that fight. He's lost the kind of energy that he displayed previously. There is an awareness, not only with his campaign and the people around him, but by him, that things are not going well and that he very well may not come out ahead in this. And it's as if it has deflated him a little bit. Um, I referred to him as a shrinking man a while ago, and that's sort of what it is. Even energetically, it's shrinking. It's just shrinking, and he doesn't have the vibrancy, or the energy, the drive to really push for this thing. And so that's part of what you're going to continue to see in October. And it feels like one of the ways that he's going to continue to try to stay relevant and in the news is just by saying outrageous thing that shocks everybody, and everybody's like, what the hell was that about? Um, that's what it looks like. That's what I'm seeing for him right now, and kind of sort of in the short-term future, I expect that it will continue to be this and just become bigger and more noticeable. He is not, not only is he not in good shape physically, he's not in good shape emotionally, he's not in good shape mentally, um, and he seems to be becoming more and more um, mentally unhealthy. So that's where he's at. I'm stepping out of this energy now because frankly, it's not very nice energy. So that's what I know. All right, that's where he's at. Let's make sure all of you American voters out there, keep yourself focused, keep yourself positive, get out there and vote, do whatever you can to volunteer if that's something that you are able to do. But just maintain that emotional sense that you're on the winning side. Don't let things frighten you. Don't let somebody else's opinion or some poll or step away. Don't let it shake you. You're on the winning side. And you need to continue to work very hard at maintaining that kind of really, really positive energy because do not forget your energy goes out. It connects and hooks up with other light energies. And that then expands, it expands the energy. So your happy, positive energy is hooking up with positive energy, but your lower energy of fear is hooking up with that, and you're actually feeding that. And that is not what you want to feed because you understand this. At the bottom of it all, it is fear and anger that motivates Trump and his voters. And so when you are allowing your energy to feed into that energy, you're helping him. It's just as simple as that. So now is the time to start working really hard at keeping your focus on joy, on happiness, on success, on a win. And you will not only feel much better, but you will be contributing in a way that is incredibly powerful and meaningful. All right, that's what I know. Take good care of yourself. Be well. I will see you soon. Bye for now.
Alice, bring the pumpkin back.
What's my coming? Come on, you get on the camera too. You can say hi to my viewers. It's going to be a whiteness too.